Well, welcome to the MasterChef Not, and the first thing I want to show you how to cook is a plain chocolate flapjack. Right, what do you need for that? Well, utensils: you need a deep, fairly large saucepan, you need a wooden spoon, and you need a baking tray. This one's about 30 centimetres by 20, about 12 inch by 8 inch, and about 2 centimetres deep, about 3/4 of an inch deep. Normally for that size of tray I would use double the quantity that I'm showing you now, but I'm going to make a half and half. I'm going to put chocolate in one half and something else in the other. I haven't quite decided what. So the first one is a plain chocolate flapjack. What do you need for that? Well, over a very, very low heat, very low, you need to first of all melt 80 grams of brown sugar, demerara or something like that, light brown sugar of any kind, around about 60 grams of butter and 40 grams of margarine. I'm using cake margarine here and just lightly salted butter. Doesn't matter whether you use salted butter or not. I don't add any extra salt. Okay, shove that in together, and we need to wait quite a while for that to melt down, and keep an eye on it. We don't want anything burning, we don't want anything bubbling away too fast, just nice gentle heat until that melts. So just going to leave that and let that do that. While that's going on, you need to set your oven to around about 220 degrees centigrade. I use conventional oven setting because I've got that option. You can put it on fan, doesn't matter, doesn't make any difference. The flapjack doesn't care. Just talk a little bit about the chocolate. I'm using your actual plain dark chocolate, 75% Cocoa Solids on this. This is the real deal, but it is quite expensive. I'm using about 4 of those squares, which is just, it's about 1/3 of a pack. I don't bother weighing that. Okay, when it's just about smooth but not quite, you can add the 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. I usually find the easiest way to work this out is how far does 2 tablespoons will come up a small glass, and then just fill the glass to that point. Just makes life easier, really. And the other thing I do is straight from the pan into the sink. Less goo. It's the closest thing to super glue that never sets. Okay, and that whole mixture now, just keep stirring it until it becomes nice and smooth. If it's still gritty, you really want to keep it on the heat a bit longer. You do have to be patient here because it does take quite a long time to just get a nice smooth consistency. And there is the temptation to turn up the heat and then it starts bubbling and frothing, which isn't a disaster, but as I said earlier, you don't want it caramelising, you don't want it burning, not for flapjack. Okay, there's still, you can see the grains in there of sugar, but it's getting fairly smooth now. So now we can add what is the main ingredient, the chocolate. Just break it up into smaller chunks, and in it goes. And again, keep this moving. You don't want this to stop and burn You want it just to melt in, and this chocolate, it will melt very, very quickly. And become a beautiful dark brown paste. Leave it on for just a few more minutes. Now then, when it comes to the oats, I just use your ordinary porridge oats, 250 grams. This is an optional extra. I like to add about half a teaspoonful of ground ginger, just to give it a little bit of bite. Just mix that in with the porridge oats. Just gives it an extra bit of bite, as I say. Okay, we're almost there. Almost smooth. And as soon as it's smooth, what we're going to do is we're going to add the oats to the mixture, and we are going to stir vigorously. What we've got to do is to get everything coated, all the oats coated, before the chocolate gets too cold. Okay, I'm just going to turn the heat up just a slight amount, just get that extra bit of heat before I put the oats in. And it's smelling absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. That is smelling beautiful. Okay, you can see the consistency now. Absolutely gorgeous. And in go the oats. And now, as I say, it's just stir it, turn the heat down, and keep it on the heat, just keep it warm, but stir it, and stir it. We want every flake coated in that beautiful, beautiful chocolate. As you can see, not much light stuff in there. We want it all coated beautifully. And as soon as that's all coated, it's time to turn it out into the tray. As I said, I'm only putting this in half of the tray, because I'm going to make another flavour for the other half. Pour that in, nice and gently. Now at the beginning I said the only utensils you needed were a saucepan, a wooden spoon and a baking tray, but I have to say that one of these things, these slice efforts, are really useful. Not absolutely necessary, but really useful for doing the flattening bit at the end. Make sure you get this into all the corners, and you see there I wasted a flake. That is, oh, terrible, absolutely terrible. So I'm going to get into all the corners, and as I'm only using half the tray, make a nice divide about halfway down, and then try and level the whole thing up. We're not looking here for perfection. Trust me, once they're tasted, these flapjacks will disappear in a matter of minutes anyway. So there's no point in being too much of an artist with them. So once it's fairly flat, that's that done, and that can go to one side and wait for the next